Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Breathing Room. I'm your host, Rob Lavati, and I'm here today with the local Asheville band Chilltonic. Teso McDonald, Dempsey Jones, and Michael Dunham. Thanks for joining me today, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, really excited today. I think we're going to be able to talk about some good stuff, talk about what you guys have been working on and some of the things you have coming up, and then maybe just dive a little bit deeper into some of the things that go into the writing process for you guys. We're coming to you today from the Asheville Play Studios in Asheville, North Carolina. As always, want to shout out Matt Dunn of AV Live for helping us make this all possible today. Again, anyone who's just joining us for the first time, or maybe you caught episode 1 with Kat Dolan and Nate Robinson, just a little bit about what Breathing Room is about. This is really a platform for local artists, creatives, and really just local humans to be able to share their stories and try to find some breathing room in their life, right? That's kind of the theme of the show, something that I've found that can be incredibly difficult to do with all the things that we have coming at us on a daily basis, is just find the time to take some deep breaths and focus in on the things that matter to us, right? So with that said, let's take 10 seconds here before we get started. I'll just close our eyes, take some deep breaths, get settled into the studio here, and get ready to start. Teso, don't you smile at me. This is serious, okay? I'm serious. All right, let's do it. All right, cool. Your eyes were open.
I opened them right before you said all right.
Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. You're a good counter. All right, guys. So let's jump right into it. Dempsey, Teso, Michael, thanks for joining me again today. Maybe you could just start off giving us a little bit of an overview. What is Chilltonic all about? How did you guys meet? What are you working on right now?
I think Chilltonic is representative of the feeling you get in Asheville. I think is very particular. You know, I walked outside today and somebody was like, vibe check, and smiled at me, said some good stuff, and that's how all of us met. Just like me and Michael met outside of a open mic, and we started jamming. And immediately after we started jamming, he wanted to go record. And when I met Dempsey, he was playing with a friend of mine named Ducky, and he was really good. So I jammed with him a little bit, and then I asked him for a ride back to my place and told him about, you know, my friend Michael and a band that I'm trying to put together.
How long ago was that?
It was about 2.5 years ago that I met Dempsey. I met Michael probably a year before that.
Nice.
But we ever since then I've just been working on our own songwriting. And when we first met, I had an album that I'd written, but we wrote music together that was just better, and we're working on getting that stuff recorded now. But our Chilltonic is the feeling of the streets of Asheville, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it, and I would agree. A question that I get asked a lot when I try to describe your band to people is, how would you describe their music? What genre are they? And you guys really kind of break my brain a little bit on that one. That's a tough question to answer, because you guys really kind of spread all over the place in terms of playing some different genres of music. You have Teso rapping sometimes. You have this element of funk and reggae, alternative rock. Like, I feel like I'm listening to like 1997 at the same time. How would you describe your music? I know it's really hard to put these things into a box, but like, if you had to, what box does Chilltonic live in, or what group of boxes?
I like to say alternative soul music, but you can pretty much put alternative in front of any of the genres we play.
Right.
And it could be considered alt reggae or alt funk or alt any of those things, but
alternative.
Alternative,
yeah.
Exactly. So we play alternative music.
I don't know. I dread that question too when people ask me, like, what does Chilltonic play? And you know, I never really have a great answer. I always just break it down into, you know, we have some hip hop elements, we have some reggae elements, we have some rock elements, you know. Right. But I don't have a legit genre of music that I put us in, because all of our songs are different, you know. So if we write something, then hopefully the rest of the band will back that, and it might have my flavor on it, it might have Michael's flavor, or, you know, so.
Yeah. I think that's the cool thing, is you each have very diverse taste in music. So if Michael writes a song, for example, that song is going to come out a lot differently than if Teso or Dempsey wrote it. So I think you get a really unique take on it, where depending on who the main writer is, you can get a really different feel for a song.
Absolutely.
Something I've always really appreciated about you guys is looking at you at first glance, you guys come from very different walks of life, right? Different backgrounds, different music tastes, grew up in different places. Michael, what has that been like for you? Just working with two guys that maybe you're different from in a lot of ways, but you also have been able to kind of find your similarities over the past 2.5 years. What's that evolution been like for you?
It's been great.
Yeah. What are some of the challenges that have come up just in trying to start a band, right? I mean, that alone is something that takes a lot of time and energy and effort. What are some of the hurdles that you guys have had to overcome in the past couple of years?
Communication.
Yeah. What ways does that come up?
Teso doesn't have a cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
Still
living in 1997, like I said before.
He doesn't have a home phone either.
Yeah, that's how we keep that old sound.
You guys have to fax him, right?
Not yet.
No, okay.
No, he doesn't have an office yet.
He's got a pager.
Hopefully in the next couple of years, we'll all have offices.
That would be nice.
We'll all have desk jobs and ties.
No, you don't want a desk job. You want to play music.
Yeah, you're right.
It's hard to play music at a desk.
Well, depends on what kind of desk.
We found this out.
Yeah. So what other ways has communication come up? And I'm going to maybe stir the pot up a little bit here, but I've been around you guys enough to see that there have been some definite times where you guys disagree on things. And I think that's natural when you put a group of 2 or more people together and you're all trying to work on one end product. There are going to be a bunch of different ways to go about getting there, right? What are some of the ways that you guys have worked to resolve conflict and work together to help achieve a common goal?
We still have conflict, you know, I mean, and we're still working on, you know, we're still working on trying to figure out the right ways to deal with each other. Obviously, we're all working towards the same goal, and we all have, you know, intense feelings for, you know, I love Michael, I love Teso, we're a band, we're brothers, you know. So it does get a little messy, you know, but it's about, you know, we just argued the other day. I have a problem with, you know, repeating things and kicking it.
What'd you say?
I said I have a problem with repeating things.
One more time.
I have a problem with repeating things. You know, and so that's, you know, I guess acknowledging our own personal issues, you know, and like instead of pointing fingers, you know,
right.
It's better to address things to, yeah, I think Michael has something to say, but.
Yeah, go for it.
I think being respectful of what other people are sensitive to, because we're all sensitive to different things, and
right.
Just because we're not sensitive to it doesn't mean somebody gets really bothered when we do something or approach things a certain way. And it's still going to take us a while to figure out how to approach that the best way.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think when you're in a band, it's a lot different than being in a group of friends or being in a business. It's kind of a combination of both of those things, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're trying to move your brand and your product forward with, in your case, 2 other guys who have maybe their own vision on what that should look like. And I think there's definitely an element of learning to separate the friend side of things and the business side of things. Right, to just be able to understand, like, no, this is not personal. This has nothing to do with what I think of you as a person. This is the best way I think we can achieve this goal, right?
Yeah, there's no boss in the band. You know, we all try to just put in equal parts or put
right.
in as much as we can or as much as we have to offer. So that, you know, sometimes you have to fight to get your point across.
Right.
There's only 3 of us too, so it's like Teso feels a certain way, Michael feels a certain way. You know, and sometimes you got to fight it out and figure out what's going to be best or what was worth it or wasn't worth it to fight about. So, I mean, we still fight. We, you know, I mean, we're called Chilltonic, but
just, it's not real.
That's in the music, you know.
Yeah.
And it's draining too. It's draining to argue. So it's less draining to play the music than it is to argue. But, you know, that whole putting the music together and writing music can be very, tedious and stressful.
There was a time in my life that I called you guys stress tonic.
Oh, yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah, we stress so listeners can chill.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's very noble of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have a question for Teso first, and then I would like Dempsey or Michael to take a swing at it. But for me, I'm really big with momentum. That's something that helps me keep a project going. If I have a couple things that are going well, things are moving forward, it becomes a lot easier for me to keep going. You guys have you guys have a very interesting situation where you're essentially a part-time band because Michael's still finishing up school, right? So there are a couple of weeks or months that you have together, and then you may be apart for a few months. What has that experience been like? And how do you spend your energy when Chilltonic is on a hiatus?
Me personally, I feel like it helps us a lot to have time apart. Space is so valuable for a relationship. That's something I learned. I've learned a lot of stuff with Chilltonic about so those breaks, it makes such a big difference to like the dynamic that we have when we are together, and it provides the space, provides it creates we want to see each other so much when we're apart for so long. Is it makes it so much more valuable when we do get to spend time together. But then another part of it is it is difficult because a lot of people we'll see Chilltonic at one point and then we'll stop playing for a few months, and people will be like, it's too bad that you're not in a band anymore. It's I'm totally, it's just we're waiting for the time to come. And so it's the waiting game is definitely a difficult one, but at the same time, we've developed our characters so much in that time frame. If we didn't have that time apart, I feel like we would have burnt out a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's a really good insight there. And what I've noticed is each time that you guys come back together, you don't miss a beat in starting to play shows right away or practice right away. And it seems like each time there's a more refined version of the band that I saw just a few months before. So that evolution has been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah,
well, thanks.
Most bands that I've been in, they get sick of material and drop it. We use the same material, but we refine it so that we can still play it year after year after year, and just get to the point with it where we love to play the songs still,
Right. Yeah, that's important. It's something that I've seen is songs that you guys were working on 2 years ago are still in the rotation, still getting played live. They have a brand new part at the end.
And when we have time apart, it makes things less personal. When we're like, hey, I think this should go like this now, instead of that happening right after a show that might be taken personally by somebody.
Right.
If it's we got a month apart, it's you know what? What if we brought it down there, or what if we just had one vocal there, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's crazy. When we're separate, the way that our characters develop influences the music so much. We've been functioning, we've been trying to develop our dynamics as a band, and the way that we communicate influences the sound. The way that we interact with each other influences the sound. And then each time when we come back and our character is more developed, we come together, and then even if there's it's not we've been practicing changing our style, but our style our repertoire increases just based off of the way that it's Dempsey, he hasn't had his drum kit for a while,
right?
But still, when we came back together, he's pulling out new beats that I've never heard before, and it's the first time we're locking down on these new things, and it's so awesome, Even without the drums to practice on, the development of the character created these new beats in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think in your case, especially Teso, it's development of character and also experiences that you've had in that off time. Because I know there have been a few months that you've been apart, that you've traveled a little bit, or you've spent some time in a new place, and then you come back with this totally different feel. About this time last year when you came out with Appalachia. That was kind of this new feel of almost a flat picking style for you. You were branching out and trying something new, and that led into 2 or 3 songs that seemed to fit that vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's something that's really neat too, is how you guys are kind of snowballing through it, and you're picking up new things as you're going along. That's great. It's good to see that evolution and see you guys continue to rework and reinvent yourselves.
Yeah, it has moments where it's, songs are coming out and we're writing a bunch, and then there's moments where we're refining. It's like there's levels, Sometimes you stay on a certain level, and then you come up with a new song and a new sound, and Teso learns something new, and then you plateau, and then you try to push and push. And I think that's what we've kind of done over the years, is almost like a stairway, is work on it, plateau, and then break through that, and then, keep changing the songs, keep refining the songs. And we are a part, like you said, we're a part-time band. So that gives us a lot of time to digest.
Definitely.
And think about and digest the music. So, there's a lot of time and patience in this group. So, I mean, when we're away, there's a lot of patience.
Right. When you're together.
When we're together.
There's still a lot of patience.
There is. There has to be. Yeah. And just because there's conflict or you guys butt heads doesn't mean you're not having a lot of patience with each other.
Well, that is patience,
Yeah.
And then we work through it and move on,
So for people who are listening who either are musicians or maybe are not, can you guys try to put into words what that feeling's like? Because I've been around you guys when it's happened. When you come up with a new song. When you come up with a new song, you just have that lick or that vocal idea or that drum beat or that sweet bass line, whatever it is that kind of gets the process of starting a song kicked off. What does that feel like for you guys, and how do you kind of rally around that energy as a band?
You got to push it. You got to have an idea and say, hey, guys, I've got this idea. And, Teso's got something he says where he's like, throw it against the wall till it sticks. So, I may write a part that I think is another song, and then it goes well with a song that's already there. So the things we write usually get used. But, I guess to answer your question better, I love that part. That's my favorite part, is like coming up with stuff, that excitement of having something. I wrote this line. I'm excited to show it to the guys, and I'm excited to see if it becomes something, So that is, to me, like, other than performing live at a really good show and the vibe is there with the people, other than that, I think that's my favorite. I get the biggest buzz out of playing music when it comes to something new, and your mind is real fresh on it, and you've got like a passion to make something out of it.
Yeah.
And I love to write, so I can write a lot of garbage, a lot of stuff that I don't.
I'm happy you said that, because I had something I'm sitting here thinking about, and it ties into that, which is something I've noticed in your songwriting process that is really interesting. You have this element of self-deprecation and maybe like perfectionism, where it's like you'll write something and almost immediately you're like, man, this sucks. This is garbage. I don't even want to play this or show it to anybody.
Yeah.
Like you did that with Bedbugs when you first wrote that song, the lyrics for that, which is a Chilltonic song that I happen to like a lot.
Thank you.
Really interesting Beatles vibes going on, some 3-part harmonies. And they still really take it and make it their own song with their own vibe. You listen to it and you still know it's them. It's still friendly and familiar. Ooh. But when you had finished writing it, you really weren't sold on it yet.
Yeah.
What does that feel like for you? Is that perfectionism? Is that what that is? Or what's making you think this is not good enough and I don't like this?
It's just a human thing where, I don't know, or maybe I don't have enough confidence in the song, or I don't know. Sometimes you're confident, and sometimes you're not.
Right.
So maybe it could be even the day or something. If I had had a better day, I might have loved the song, but maybe it was the way I was feeling at the time. But yeah, I'm just, an insecure human, I guess, like everybody else. Yeah. So maybe I was just, I don't write really with the intent of anybody to hear it anyway. I just write because I like to write, So Michael has something to say.
Well, with that song, we collaborated on the lyrics to that, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. So
that might give it a Beatles sound because, the Beatles are very collaborative with writing, or particularly John and Paul. And, what would happen with that song is he would write a line, maybe I wouldn't like it, and I'd be like, let's change that. And I would write a line, and he would be like, nah, that's not really working. And so we just worked on that one until we agreed upon every line. Yeah. And once we agreed upon every line, there it was. Except, actually, the bridge of that one, just getting into details here, that one took a long time to get down. It actually took probably a year and a half before we simplified it enough. And that was actually with the help of Teso. We got the bridge. So it's For me, songwriting is very much a slow process. It's like you come up with the initial idea, but for me that doesn't really mean anything because it's just an idea. Once I can figure out two ideas to attach together, then I get excited. I'm like, okay, here we have the beginnings of a song here, and it doesn't even need to be a chord progression or anything. It just needs to be two different melodies or two contrasting parts.
Right.
And then even then, I find it takes me months of playing it and working it out with the band to really see how it's going to be arranged and whatnot.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm really intrigued to hear that you guys wrote that together because it sounds like one consistent voice. I think the song's really funny. When I've seen you guys play it live, I've seen people laugh at a couple different points in Bedbugs.
And we like that, too. I mean, I don't take that as, like... I like making people... Like, playing live, it's hard to really explain, you know, but I try not to pay too much attention to the people there. We're a very close band, so I'm looking at Teso, I'm looking at Michael, Michael's looking at me, Michael's looking at Teso. Like, we're very, like, you know, we try to stay focused in this group. But I like to see people smiling and feeling good, and that's also one of the best parts about playing music is, like, seeing people laugh or, you know, dance or, you know, just, like, the smile. You can see the difference when people are truly, like, having a good time, and I think music has that. It's definitely a way for us to bring that, and if people want to laugh or yell or whatever, like, I'm all with it. Just have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really neat. I went to a show in Charlotte, and one of the things that they did there is when the jazz ensemble was done playing, nobody was allowed to clap.
Wow.
They requested that everyone in the audience stayed completely silent between songs. And that was pretty trippy. That was really neat because you have this urge, because we're conditioned, you're ready to clap, you want to clap, you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But when you just leave that space silent, the energy of the song really kind of carried through between songs. It was an interesting experience.
Yeah, well, we do a lot of songs. Like, sometimes when we do cover sets, we'll do these mashups, and the song might go on for, 15 minutes or 20, you know, and no one claps, obviously, because the song just continues and continues and continues, but then afterwards, you know, it seems to get a bigger response, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So something I wanted to chat about a little bit, I've noticed in listening to your music, it seems like lyrically there are definitely some themes that pop up. There are some related songs. Like, I can almost tell, like, oh, these songs were written around the same time or written by the same person. And one of the themes that I've noticed is that it seems like pain and loss, maybe some element of suffering, seems to make it into your songs. At least that's a lot of what I pick up. I'm talking about lyrically. That's some of the stuff that's resonated with me the most that you guys have put together. Any of you guys feel prepared to talk about some of the loss or pain that you've endured as an individual or as a band that's made it in your music?
Yeah, we just try to keep it real. Like one instance in particular is, you know, we lost a bandmate to another band, not to
it's a cancer, or
not anything like that.
He's still with us, but he's not with us.
And yeah, he's just quit the band.
That's one example, and we've all had personal losses with relationships and with loved ones, and we find making music about it to be comforting and just something to remember those instances in a sort of positive mindset.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that song up because it's called Pain, and it expresses a lot of pain. But we weren't that hurt over, you know, the guy leaving the band or whatever.
You guys weren't all sitting around crying.
No,
like
we thought it'd be fun, and so we were entertaining ourselves, really, you know, and that's like really important.
But it became a vehicle to express other loss too.
Totally, yeah.
So that's what I love about songs is they can have a sense of ambiguity where you can put your own meaning to it night after night. You know.
Yeah, there's a part where we scream in that song, and I find that super therapeutic because, and I do try to I don't think of, you know, the person that we lost in that band. I try to channel some, like, I don't know what it is at the time, but I'm trying to think of it and scream that part as, like, with pain, you know?
I'll tell you what, I don't think I've told anybody this, but when you guys play that song and you get to the part where you're screaming at the end, and Teso, when you do it, you're almost crying. I mean, you're really into the performance of that part, and without fail, every time it makes me think about my dad.
Yeah.
I'll just be standing there listening with my eyes closed, thinking about my dad, thinking about the pain that came from that loss. Like, with no words at all, you guys were able to capture such a pure emotion at the end of that song.
Thank you, Rob. Well, next time, scream with us.
I normally do.
If that's what you think, then scream with us, because that's what that part is for,
And it's almost out of key at some points.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's just so raw, and it cuts right through you. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, Michael gave me the stink eye when I was like, it doesn't matter if it's out of key. But it does. I mean, I just scream, and it's hard to do.
He just screams.
I just scream. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in that song, like, it is funny, too, the different meanings you can place on top of things, because when I first wrote it, I was trying to incorporate, like, we called our bass player Easy. That's what we called him. And, like, there's a line in the song, like, who's here? I know it's not easy.
Or easy come, easy go.
Easy come, easy go. There was a lot of plays on that. Yeah. So it was kind of like a love song about a bass player.
Yeah, dude. He was really good.
He was good.
He's a talented guy.
He is super talented.
He played keys and bass at the same time.
Yeah,
it was irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Irreplaceable. But the fact that we became a three-piece, we used to have 5 members in the group. So after the first summer, we lost 2. And this kind of goes back to the question you were asking earlier, like, what have we had to endure? I mean, there's been a lot more than just us arguing about the music and the way we think it should sound. I mean, there's been houses, there's been, like, neighbors, there's been... Subletters. I mean, we've been through hell as a band, but...
Black Mold.
Black Mold, man,
That needs to be an album.
Being in Chilltonic's pretty much like being in the Odyssey, you know what I mean? There's just every day something that's going to come at you, and,
Yeah, there was this one time we agreed to play an open mic, and it starts pouring outside, and the basement that we lived in, it floods. And I look at Dempsey, I'm like, dude, look, I know that we don't want to do this, but our shit is about to get trashed.
I didn't
Apologies
think he was,
for my French.
Yeah.
But, like, dude, it was... We got back, and everything was dry. And we were like, okay. And then it was like a scene from a movie, like the Titanic was sinking.
Yeah, we had to bail out the garage, man. We had like vacuums going, water vacuums. We had
buckets and
Michael's at the
and I don't know where they are. I'm like,
he's just pissed off. Like,
just we missed our set time. It was like getting really late. I was like, am I? Yeah.
The whole time I was just like, man, I wish Justin was filming this, because it would have been such classic. But his shit probably would have gotten ruined too. So, excuse my language.
No, shout out to Justin, by the way.
Oh, well, in that case.
Shout out to Justin.
Yeah, shout out to Justin.
Justin makes every bad situation better because he captures it on camera.
And
that's a good point.
And thank you, Play Studios and Matt, everybody that's a part of this. Thank you so much, for having us.
Yeah.
And this is really cool. So
yeah, we've been really, really blessed and lucky with this endeavor so far. A lot of really great people helping us out.
Well, we're honored to be on the second episode of this show.
Second, number 2, baby,
yeah,
in the hopper.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Would you play Pain for us, Teso? Or is there a song on your mind that you'd like to play? I really selfishly want to hear Pain, but if there's one that comes to mind that you'd rather play, I think it's a good time to maybe just play a tune.
I feel like Pain is a lot without the kit, without the band.
Right.
Like, the whole band influences that song so much in the way that song moves.
Yeah.
And without that, it's these guys bring so much to that with their instruments and the feeling inside of it, like the way the bass rumbles and the way that the drum hits at these specific times. It's so valuable to the song. But
I totally feel that.
There is one song that we might play, if that's cool with you.
Sure. What's it called?
It's called What It's Worth.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it. I like the audible, last minute, play what feels right, play what feels good. What's this song about, Teso?
Well, it's
dog piss. It's about dog piss.
It's about dog piss. Yeah, like they're
real deep.
The feeling, like the hook is just like, it's just when you're so down that the only way you can react to it is laughing. When you're so far down, you're just like you smile, even though you say you just lost your job and you locked your keys out of your car, and you're walking several miles, and then one of your shoes, like the sole falls off, and you're like, all right, this can't get any worse, and then like somebody like drives by you and covers you in mud. you know?
Right.
And then, like, at that point, you're just like, you know, just smile and accept the situation you're in, you know? Cause
Didn't you just come back from like some trip and then like they kicked you out as soon as you got back in, and then like the dog that they had there had pissed all over his clothes. So he was just like,
so it's
"What?"
literally about dog piss.
It's really, and the song used to be called Dog Piss, and I was always against that. I was like, come on, man, we can't have a song called Dog Piss. And it's a beautiful song.
I think you need a song called Dog Piss.
Yeah, so I guess, you know, that.
Don't change his mind now.
This song was inspired by Dog Piss.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into it. Mm-hmm.
sorry, guys.
Gotta tune this.
This has been a large point of our
Another
conflict in the
struggle.
band.
Another struggle.
Tuning struggle.
Well, I'm the drummer, so I'll just sit there and watch them drum. And I think it's easier than it is. I'm like, hurry up and tune. And then, you know, I don't know how to tune a guitar. If it was me up there tuning the guitar, it would take me forever. But,
Shouts out to Equal Temperament, all you musicians out there.
yeah, equal temperament. Whatever that means. Got me.
That'll be next episode.
All right, I think we're all tuned up. Sorry.
Myself and I here on my own. Me and myself, me, myself and I, down to the bone. And I can't believe you're here right now. Hold me tight, spin round and round till my feet come off the ground. I can't believe you're here right now. Hold me tight, spin round and round, so damn happy I might drown. Fucking kill me now, 'cause I don't wanna spend another moment on this earth. Can I please just die? If I'm a waste of time, make every moment what it's worth. I talk to the sidewalk when I'm stuck in my head. I speak to the concrete when I wish I could be far away from low. So low, so lonely on my own. Low, so low, so lonesome to the bone. And I can't believe you're here right now. Hold me tight, spin round and round, so damn happy I might drown. I can't believe you're here right now. Hold me tight, spin round and round, so damn happy I might drown. just die. If I'm a waste of time, make every moment what it's worth.
That was Chilltonic with For What It's Worth. What It's Worth. Parentheses, dog piss.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're going to scratch that.
No, I'm gonna keep it.
All
I'm going to call it only that.
All right.
That's a great song, you guys. And that's one that you've had around in the docket for a little bit now. It's changed. You've added some new parts, added some new words. What are your thoughts on the current version of the song? Are you guys happy with where it is? Something that I've seen come a long way were the harmonies. That sounded really great there. You guys have been working on that a lot.
That's the reason what we've been really working on the most. And Michael mentioned something earlier too, like about playing. We've been playing a lot without microphones,
right?
So we can actually hear. Because a lot of times I get on the drums and there's amps and there's this and I'm just wailing and I'm screaming, and so mic control and harmonies,
dynamic, bringing
vocally,
it down.
That's our biggest. That's our next focus. Really, is just to like nail the vocals down, and the music as well. But
what we call that too, that feeling when it does all hit right, is peanut butter. It's that
peanut
even
butter.
spread. We talk about peanut butter so much.
That creamy peanut butter.
Yep. No chunky.
Chunky.
It's
what
tough.
brand?
See, that's the thing. I think
we
that
have no endorsements yet.
It'd definitely be smooth though.
Yeah, smooth peanut
definitely
butter.
Smooth peanut butter.
All natural too.
All natural.
No
Organic,
added sugars.
Whole Foods.
Locally sourced.
Really
peanuts,
expensive.
Very nice.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to endorse anybody.
That's our sponsor for today.
Right, I guess.
Local peanuts.
Peanuts.
Yeah, so there's definitely the peanut butter going on in that song, and I really enjoy when you guys play it as a full band. That chorus is an interesting part when it comes up in the song live. I always like to look around and see what people's responses are going to be, because you got this really happy reggae feeling, upbeat, and then it's just fucking kill me now.
I know. I love watching people's faces, and something that we do is we try to say that as lightheartedly as possible, so we smile as we.
Well, I smile. I always look at these guys and try to make them smile, but for some reason, there's no happiness in this band.
There's so much. There's so much to think about when you're like playing.
You don't have time to smile.
Drums. I mean, I try to smile a little bit, but for me, I'm not a singer, and I think in the future we're going to take some vocal
You are
lessons.
a singer.
Thank you. That's nice.
He's a self-deprecating singer.
We're picking up a theme here.
Well, yeah.
You want to talk about self-deprecation? I'm your guy. Anyway.
Oh my God.
How do you feel about that?
Badly.
No, I don't want to. Don't tell me.
A little depressed. No, but I think to answer the first question, maybe I got a little ahead of myself. But the vocals is what we're trying to work on, and it's so difficult. It's a really difficult thing. Takes a lot of listening.
Right.
Sometimes you can just do and not listen, and that's part of the problem I have. Is like I'll be playing the drums and I'll do that, and just listening is so much of part of playing in this group.
Well, yeah, when the three of you are singing, you're effectively making your 3-piece band a 6-piece band, and you have 3 more instruments that you have to worry about what pitch they're in. You have to make sure that you're following the harmony.
Yeah.
So that definitely adds another layer of complexity for sure.
Yeah, I give a lot of respect to anybody who sings on key, because that's a job.
That's what autotune is for.
Yeah, right. Which we're trying to avoid too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But if need be, then put me on it and I'll sign up for it.
Yeah.
Dempsey Jones R&B.
Well, there's a difference between pitch correcting and auto-tuning, right?
Yeah, I think
everyone in the business uses pitch correct in some way.
Yeah. We're trying to be organic. We when it comes to the studio too, it's like, should we put a solo there, or we don't really have that in the song, so
right.
Do we want to record that? So, those are questions. But I think we want to keep things as organically as possible because we are a three-piece, and the more we can make, the better. So.
Right. So I have to ask, maybe an uncomfortable question, but Teso, you wrote the lyrics to What It's Worth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any part of that chorus that comes from a serious place and you're trying to smile it off?
Well,
I mean, because that's some deep stuff to hear, and you guys are singing it with a smile, and you're singing it in a mostly major upbeat song. But is there any part of you that when you wrote that, maybe was really feeling the way that you documented?
The thing is everybody, even if people don't want to admit it, everybody feels like that sometimes. Everybody feels like, maybe it would be easier to take an alternative route that doesn't involve existing. But, like, the thing is like, adding light to that, instead of hiding from it is, like, I guess that was my goal, to make it like, we all experience this. Why are we going to hide from it? Why not smile about it and do it together? You know what I mean? Because,
right.
like, it's so easy to pretend like that doesn't exist. In anybody's life, you can try to hide behind social media or whatever car you're driving or whatever instrument you're playing or whatever shoes you're wearing. But the fact of the matter is, like, everybody experiences so much pain to exist. And it's necessary, in my opinion, to share that with your friends and laugh about it. Because if you're not doing that, then, like, how are you dealing with it? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many. It's so easy to ruminate and stick yourself in a hole.
Yeah.
But, like, if you can look at that stuff and you can embrace it, and just, like, internalize the fact that you're gonna experience so much suffering in your life, then, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just develops yourself and the people around you if you have the ability to grow from it. So I think that it's a very serious thing, and I think it's real. It's something that I feel a lot.
Yeah, I feel it too when you perform it, and that's the reason I ask. Is we're all smiling, we're all happy up here, but you look behind the curtain, you maybe see what's really going on. And I think it's really great that you were able to capture that in such an interesting way in that song, because I definitely relate to that and understand the exact feeling that you're talking about. And I think the only way that you can really grow from that, and I think get the recognition you deserve when you grow from that, from the people around you, is, like you said, by sharing with them where you are. If you're at a place where you're at your lowest of low, your rock bottom, whatever it is, you're maybe dealing with anxiety or depression or suicidal thoughts, I think it's important to let people into that circle with you. You can't stand there alone.
No.
And that's what I feel like you're doing with the song. You're kind of sharing with me today, which I appreciate. And anytime you go up on stage and play that song, I think you give people a look into that part of your life, which I think is really cool.
And during that part, like I said, it's my favorite part in the song because people do smile. So if that is, if that's what Teso's trying to do, he's done a good job at that because people do smile or laugh uncomfortably.
Right.
So it's really good.
I think a certain amount of it is definitely the uncomfortable laugh, and I like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I know the uncomfortable laugh, but it always happens every time.
Yep.
Somebody's not expecting it, and they're just, like, uncomfortably laughing, but it's great, some kind of response.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It's cool too. I think it's really amazing to see parents letting their kids listen to it. That's the funniest thing. I think about kids listening to this music, right? And I realized when I was tiny, I was listening to some ridiculous music,
Right.
But then, like, thinking about, like, I have little siblings, right? Would I want them singing this song, And if my thing is, there's no age to this feeling, you know what I mean? Like, like, suffering doesn't discriminate on how many years you've been on Earth. So, like, if you feel it, you feel it. And that's the craziest thing to see parents just like, I'm going to let my kids dance to this music right in front of the band, hearing it. Just like,
right.
It's the best feeling.
Yeah, we had to make a clean version of it, actually, at one point.
Yeah.
It was, can you help me out? Can you please just try?
Can you help me out?
Oh, not the radio edit.
Radio
man. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So I want to totally shift gears here, take us on to something different, something that I've been playing around with lately, and you guys have been here long enough that I think you're good to bring this up with. I've been in Asheville for about 2 years, just past my 2-year anniversary, and it's been great in a lot of ways, right? There's some really cool things about living in this part of the country, and I think a lot of those are well publicized. Asheville's getting some good press. We're coming in at the top of all these lists of places you need to visit and drink beer and do all the things that we know are here, right?
Yeah.
And with that said, and this is throwing no shade on the city of Asheville, there's certainly a darker side.
Absolutely.
To this city, to this community, to this part of the country.
Yeah.
It's something that I can feel when I'm walking downtown. You can see it. Mm-hmm. You can smell it. It's there, and it's something that I've become very aware of, and it's something that I actually really like about this city as well.
Yeah.
I think part of the challenge is it's just not really broadcast in this, in the same way. There are a lot of things that maybe are hidden from running on local news cycles as to not scare away the tourists, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just maybe if you were to hear only the good things about Asheville, you wouldn't have a full picture of what really goes on in the city. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my question is, what are some of the ways that darker side has manifested for each of you, either in your own experiences or places that you've seen it happening?
Well, I think there's a lot of crime going on right now and like a lot of theft.
Right.
So, Nate, who was on our program, or not on our program, on your program last, sorry, getting a little carried away. His guitar got stolen. So I know so many musicians who have had their instruments stolen. Also, my work supplies out of my truck, and there's like a lot of crime. And I believe that's, the drug side of Asheville. Someone's trying to get money for drugs. So I think, there's definitely a drug problem. I see needles and I see drugs.
You've actually seen needles?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't want to go accusing anyone of being, not diabetic or anything, but
sure, you can assume a couple things when you see a needle on the ground.
I just feel like diabetics are a lot more respectful with their needles as well. But, you know what I mean?
Yep. I think that one huge part of it is like, it's stretching out. There's so much crime in the low-income communities in Asheville that's never talked about. Like, there's multiple shootings weekly in Asheville that just are never talked about in the low-income communities. And also, like, there's so much money coming in, but, like, they're not fixing the roads around those communities.
Right.
And they're not adding stores in those communities. So it's like there are people here who are completely underrepresented, but then, like, the tourists in the center of Asheville are completely catered to consistently. There is, like, the bus station, and, like, there is a board in the bus station, right, that has writing on it that says when the buses are here. That thing was out of service for several months, and they were building, condos right next to it. And it's like it's such an amazing thing that exists here. And the thing is like there are people who have been living here for so long, paying the same mortgage for so long, then all these tourists come in, they can't afford to live in the same place anymore. So now these people, like the original people of Asheville, are being pushed out of Asheville. Like the locals, like Asheville is gonna slowly turn into something that it wasn't. But at the same time, like the future of that and what that means for Asheville, like if the proper changes do happen, like I think that Asheville has the potential to grow into something really beautiful. But there's always going to be people on the other end of it who are angry at the hotels instead of working at them,
Right. Absolutely. No, it's definitely keen for you to bring up the point of gentrification, which is pretty much what I just heard you reference, and it's something that's going on very heavily in West Asheville right now, right? That's an area that they're trying to build up, and there are a lot of locals who have been there for 20, 30 years who... Why are you drinking your water like that? 20, 30 years who are maybe being asked to move out of the homes that they've been in for that long, so...
Yeah, and public transportation is a continuous issue. Like, if you don't have a car and you live outside of the city, it can be very hard for you to get to a job and whatnot. So there's just... I don't feel like there are enough opportunities to help people who are struggling to get back up. When, I've been up at college in Burlington, Vermont, and, they have huge problems, too, like with drug addiction and whatnot.
Right.
But, the city does quite a number of measures to try to get people who... say have lost a job or something serious and now they don't have a home or whatever, try to get them back on their feet. You know what I mean? And, there's public transportation and whatnot, and these are things that Asheville's lacking.
Absolutely. Do you, I'm alluding to something I heard Teso say, so I think I know the answer already, but do you feel like in a lot of ways the city caters to its tourists and not necessarily its citizens?
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I think...
Well, I mean, it's a catch-22 with the tourist thing. They bring money into the town. They're there's all sorts of things. And for us musicians, street performers or, buskers, the tourists are, that's who's putting the money in the,
right.
Not all the time, but that's, the tourism is great, and for the people who live here, it's a small city. Every Friday you've got this person playing here so it's like, I like and, I understand both sides, the yin and the yang. There's, gentrification going on. But also, I think the city kind of needs these tourists, and
absolutely,
it gets a little bit it gets annoying for anyone wherever you live when the tourist season comes. But they bring a lot of money, and they put a lot of money in the musicians.
I think the hard thing is where that money is going. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I feel like we can vote for the people who are in council and stuff, but like the people who are delegating where the money is going, I personally. I think that I hope the changes come that are necessary, because there are big resources for people who are homeless here. There's so many resources for people who are homeless, but there's not resources to get jobs for those folks. There's just you can come here, you can eat, you can sleep over here, but there's no job fairs happening for these folks.
Kind of like a Band-Aid.
Yeah,
putting a Band-Aid over a wound or something. It's not fixing it. It's just maybe it's fixing it.
It makes it look a lot better for tourists. But I think tourists ultimately are determining where the money is going, and I think our economy is relying a lot on the tourist dollar, and it's actually kind of somewhat dependent on it in a lot of ways.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I was just having this conversation with a friend last week. What happens when we hit another big recession or depression and people aren't spending their money on traveling and beer? You have our two biggest means of income for the city being hit at the same time. That's why I think they really need to be deliberate about trying to establish industry where possible here. I mean, you have Raleigh and Charlotte, which are two of the leaders on the East Coast for tech. There's no tech in Asheville, and that's my background, right? And that's something I'd love to see happen here.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Just try to keep the young people that we have coming through here, because we have a lot of local universities, and then people are graduating, and there's nowhere they can get a job around here, so they have to move out.
Yeah, well, Teso has said it, and we've seen it. It's the poor people in the community that are I don't know who's got what financial backgrounds or what, but the people that you see. Lyle Rickards or whoever it is, these street performers, man, they're doing it with their heart. It's not, and they're doing it for money. And I don't really know what I was getting at, but I think
I see what you're saying. It's there's, even though there are parts of it that are difficult, it provides so much opportunity. Even if rent's going up, we have the opportunity to make more money.
Yeah, we can make money on this. I guess I've lost my point. Maybe my mind got caught in these headphones or something. I guess what I'm saying is it's us that make the community. It is the poor people that make it exciting for tourists to walk around, So you can't really get rid of us, because then there goes a part of the town, If the street kids weren't on the corner and there wasn't people playing old-timey music, or if Chilltonic wasn't out going to busk, then
or Spoon Lady or
Spoon Lady.
Kessler,
so
any of these people.
These people do it, and it's a great opportunity, and it is kind of us, that I think makes that part interesting. So Teso said it. If you get rid of us, you get rid of those people, then there's not too much that's special about it. It's just another town with
beer and hotels.
And human beings.
See, that's an amazing thing, because arts really developed this town. A lot of people come here for the arts, and
Facts.
Then where it still seems like the arts are being squeezed out. It seems like it's becoming harder and harder to talk to a business owner and be pay me a standard rate.
Right.
Actually respect me as a musician, as an artist, as an entrepreneur, and pay me what it's actually worth. And it's that shouldn't be such a hard conversation to have. It should just be I'm providing a service.
Here's what I ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so often it seems like it's just not taken seriously, even though it's providing the folks who are coming through to it's a difficult situation.
Asheville's got this kind of a very loving side to it, and a very trusting, and but that sometimes can put you in a bad spot too, because you want to do something to help out somebody, because you're feeling it. You're,
right.
And then they don't really want to help you out in return. I mean, maybe they think that just you playing there for tips is enough help, I suppose, but there's been things that we've done and put a lot of time into that just didn't really pan out for us, and
right.
It was basically on a handshake, but we've done a lot of things and made a lot of moves that, have not panned out, I guess, the way that we expected them to.
Yeah.
So.
And hearing that, I don't know if this is the time to get on my soapbox, but I think a message that I would have to any small business or business owners in Asheville, owners of breweries and bars and clubs, restaurants, we have to pay our artists what they're worth to provide their service, to provide their craft to us.
Yeah.
No more artists performing for free. That just can't happen in a sustainable way. It's something that I feel very passionately about, in working with you guys. I want to make sure that you're getting recognized and compensated for your work. And it's something that I believe across the board is if you are providing what you've created and you're creating an atmosphere or an environment at a venue, you should be getting compensated for that. Yeah. There's no question about it.
Yeah, if you want us to promote and go out of our way to get people in the door, that encourages us to do so.
Right.
And it really helps everybody.
I completely agree with that. I think it's difficult because when you tack on all these extra things and you're dealing with a bar and then some kids walk into your bar and try to let me play some tunes on your, and they're underrepresented, they don't have their stuff together, and it's at that point it's hard to trust somebody to come and take over your stage, but once you do, if you have a stage, understand what that means,
Right.
That's the biggest thing in my opinion. If you have a stage, expect that this is going to be one of the things, like your alcohol, like your food, like you have to make it. It costs money to make this happen,
Yeah, and you guys had a great gig this summer where you played at a local hotel. We won't name drop, but you played at a local hotel. I think you had a series of 3 or 4 shows there. They paid you a pretty reasonable flat rate. They offered additional compensation for every certain number of dollars that were spent at the bar tab, and you guys even got a bar tab, I think, yourselves. So for me, that is a picture of what it should look like when it happens in this town. Because the shows that you played there, you brought 30 or 40 people in the first time, and they had to stop letting people up the elevator, right? There were too many people in the venue.
I think we brought in more than that, actually. It was a lot.
It was a lot, and it was a really great show, and you guys brought in some business for the venue. You made them look good. They made you guys look good. It's just a big handshake at that point where everyone's walking away with the value that they're getting and the value that they're bringing to the table.
Yeah, and they put a lot of trust in us, and they also
did. They did,
and they also didn't stifle us or try to censor us because you just heard that song, "Fucking Kill Me Now."
Right.
That's the chorus, and we didn't really go to the hotels going, "We're not going to do that." We did it, and if they said something about it, then maybe we could do the radio version, but
right.
They didn't. They let us do what we do, and that was good.
Their only stipulation was we couldn't have people coming in with backpacks, apparently.
No backpacks.
Right. Yeah. I did hear that.
Yeah.
I think that was based on an incident, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, somebody doing drugs without us in the bathroom.
That is so selfish.
I know.
Oh, man.
What is wrong with people?
This kind of
leads me to... I just don't want to get in trouble for drugs with that. I didn't do.
Yeah. Only if you did them.
Only if I did them am I going to take credit.
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. This leads me perfectly to one of the questions that I had written down here, which I'm already hearing a little bit of, but what else do you guys feel is missing here in terms of, in Asheville, support for artists? Is there anything else other than, we just talked about the struggle with maybe getting venues to recognize financially? Is there anything else you feel like is missing that the community is not providing for the artists here?
I think that the artists have a responsibility to connect with each other and help each other out. That's my personal opinion on the culture of art. It's really important that the people who are in the art scene are sharing their opportunities with other folks. And I think that it's kind of like missing, you know what I mean? So like there are units that are only playing in the hotels. They don't play outside of the hotels. They're constantly, you know, they're right in there, and it's a closed door, you know, and you got to like make it through that door to be able to play those shows.
Right.
And then like those artists won't communicate with the other artists that are on a different level of the pecking order, and you know, I think that's it's a sad reality. That's the music business, unfortunately.
A lot of elitism.
Yes.
Right.
It's a hard business to learn. Not that we know that much about it, but we're learning more, you know, after doing it for so long. And
Reality's tough.
Reality's tough. And you have to learn things on yourself. So if the other bands, like Teso's saying, if elder bands or, you know, bands that are above in the pecking or whatever it is, they don't share with younger bands, you know, how are the younger bands supposed to know how much to charge, how much
Do you think any of that is about the level of competition in the town? Do you think it's like, we're going to hold this opportunity and we're not going to share it with anybody?
It's definitely like difficult. It's like it's oversaturated with musicians, you know?
Right.
But at the same time, I think that there is enough population here who's into the arts that like there is enough for everybody. All the people who are serious about making music for a living, like there is enough for everybody. As far as the amount of venues that there are here, the amount of places that can support music, like I think that.
You think the infrastructure is there for the musicians? It's just that maybe the venues aren't always following through on their end?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
You know, on a good note, though, you know, I mean, we are talking about some of the negatives here, but on the good note, there's so many pros if you really, I mean, we needed a place to practice, didn't have a place to practice, went down to the skate park, sat up in the half pipe and had skaters, and it was almost a blessing in disguise. So that kind of thing and the freedom to play anywhere here.
Right.
I mean, we're going to go play on the streets later today, and I think that's just like, that's a blessing, you know, to be able to play wherever you want, basically. I mean, there's some kind of structured order, but, you know, we can go play on the streets. And, you know, I think that is a beautiful thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of, it's yin and yangs to everything, I suppose, but,
Yep.
you know.
All right, well, we are coming up on time here. Is there anything you guys have saved, any saved ammo or Teso, anything you feel like playing here before I let you guys go?
Yeah, we like to let the music speak.
Cool.
So
I like that.
Let's do it.
Let the music do the talking. What are you guys going to play for us?
Call Goodbye.
First you're here, and then you're gone. No one's right, no one's wrong. 'Cause first you're born, and then you're dead. And what's between is in your head. And what am I to do when I wanna tell the truth, but I couldn't even if I tried? 'Cause old number 7 is my own slice of heaven, and I never wanna say goodbye. Broken promises rest between my lover's teeth, choking honestly on the words I'll never speak. 'Cause first you're here and then you're not. Suppose this time is all we've got. 'Cause first you're young and then you're old, and in between the story's told. 'Cause old number 7 is far from a blessing if I ain't trying to tell no lies. Yeah, the world that we live in is my own slice of heaven, and I never wanna say goodbye. This message was brought to you by Chilltonic.
I love it. Thank you so much, guys. Really enjoyed the song and enjoyed having you guys here today.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Thank you, Matt and Rob.
Yeah, yep, and you're doing a great job with this. This was so much fun, and I think you've got a bright future ahead of you, kid.
Oh, thanks, there,
Dad.
Dad.
Go far.
Thank you, guys, and thanks for joining. That's it for this week on Breathing Room. Until next time, I'm Rob Lavati, joined again today by Chilltonic, Teso McDonald, Dempsey Jones.
What's going on, everybody?
And Michael Dunham. Thanks again for joining me today, guys, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.